Should I do Meta or Google dropshipping? It's probably the most asked question Brian and me get after doing 1.5 million in a month last month. So a lot of people think there is this secret nugget to success in dropshipping, but actually, spoiler, there is not. But we've had a lot of experience with both platforms, and this video will be around what do we prefer, what do we think of these platforms, which one should we choose. If I were a beginner, I will also deep dive like if I were a beginner, what should I choose right now? And yeah, let's get into it. We also talk about this a lot in the inner circle because spoiler, the best is if you combine both, but we'll get back to that later in the video. But yeah, if you want to check that out, join the inner circle. The link is down below. But let's get right into it because this is like a very broad question, to be honest. It's two completely different platforms. So I've seen people scale millions on Meta. I've seen people scale millions on Google. So which one should you choose and what are actually the key differences? So I've made a little comparison table here, and as you can see as a first point, and that's actually the biggest difference, is that Meta is really push marketing while Google is pull marketing. So what does this mean? With Meta, you really have to push products in people's faces. You do this through creatives. With Google, you pull them as soon as they are already looking up the certain product they want. So the key difference here is that on Meta, people are less ready to buy than on Google, I would say. But still, it's not as easy as it sounds that with Google, if someone comes on your website, they buy immediately. No, something here with Meta is that you really have to build good creatives. You have to convince the customer on their feet when they have zero buyer intent. You have to convince them with high emotion that your product is good, that they need your product. And you also need to add like a lot of urgency because it's an impulse buy on Meta. They are not prepared to buy. No, they just want to have some fun on Meta, scroll, see what their friends are doing, maybe laugh at some funny memes. But people don't come on Meta to buy. So that's where you really need to push the product in front of them. While with Google, you pull the people or the person that's already looking up a certain product. So with Meta, creative is key. Without any good creatives, you will do nothing. You really need to convince the person. You really need to put a lot of emotion into the creative in order for the customer to even notice it or be interested to it. So creative is key with Meta, while the feed, and the feed is your products, on Google are key. When talking about the feed, we talk about the pictures, the title, the price are very important factors. And you really need to have a feed that's full of products where a lot of people are having high demand for. So, for example, currently in most Europe and US countries, it's winter, so you really need to have your feed optimized for winter products. On a Meta store, you could still have some old summer products, but on a Google store that will not work because you will be wasting a lot of spend. So on Meta, you pay per impression because you show your creative in front of lots and lots of people, while on Google, you only have to pay when a person clicks. So this results in a lower pay per click. And on Meta, you can have often way higher pay per clicks because people are not really interested. And that also come with a higher CVR because there's less people on your website. When they click, they already are a little bit more convinced, while on Google, obviously they already have demand to the product, but doesn't mean when they click that they will buy. And more people will click because the pay-per-click is slower. So the key difference between Meta and Google, I would say, is here. These 2 points. With Meta, you could launch a store today, launch your ads, plan them for midnight tomorrow, and by tomorrow you could be doing 200 euros revenue, the day after 500, 1K, 2K, and so on and so on. Like if you're really lucky or you really know what you're doing, with Meta you can really scale a store in a few days. That's actually something that will never happen with Google, even if you know the whole game. With Google, it takes a really long time and it's having slow results before actually you will make some profit. So there's this 2 to 4 week period we always talk about with Google, which is a warm-up. With Meta, you're not really in a phase of warm-up. It's not as necessary, you don't need as much data as on Google, but it's just 2 different platforms, you know. It's like comparing an apple with a pineapple. It's not the same. It's both fruit, but it's not the same. But both platforms are actually pretty good. The problem I have with Meta personally, and why I would prefer Google if I would have to choose tomorrow, which we obviously don't, but if I would have to choose tomorrow, is the inconsistent ROAS. On Meta, you could have a ROAS of 3 today, tomorrow a ROAS of 1, the day after a ROAS of 2.5, the day after a ROAS of 0.5. And obviously, if you scale in budget, the inconsistency becomes lower, but still, you can have unprofitable days. And that's something with Google. As soon as it's out of the learning phase of 2 to 4 weeks, you are barely unprofitable. Like, that's very rare to happen. And that's also why I like Google. Obviously, you still pay a price since you should be less worried about profitability, but the next day your GMC could be banned or flagged for misrepresentation, and that's also a shit show. But same could happen on Meta, your pixel, your page, your ad account, whatever can get flagged, and you have to start all over again as well. So, two very different platforms, but not that different after all, since, yeah, you just want the customer to buy. Both platforms have their ups and downs, their pros and cons, and there's not like one answer suits all. For us, up until this day, we really combine both. So we did 1.5 million last month, but even though we did that, we did still around 35 to 40% with Meta, and 60% came from Google. So we're building a lot of momentum currently on Google, but with Black Friday and stuff coming up, Meta will get crazy as well. Both will the prices, but also the demand on Meta will be way higher. People expect to buy more on Meta. So people are really looking for these deals. So yeah, this is a quick comparison table about Meta and Google. And I have here a chart of how Meta looks and how Google looks. This is literally a chart on one of our stores we did on Meta. We scaled it in April from 0 to 15K per day. And yeah, as you can see here, okay, in the beginning, it's a little bit looking for a winner, but already after 2 weeks, we hit a spike of 4K, I would say, a little dump. And this is the inconsistency I was talking about and what I actually hate about Meta. But yeah, it's been an upward trend from here. And in about like 1 month, we hit around 15K days, which is pretty insane. This was one of our best Meta stores we've had. But yeah, as you can see, in a short period, you can already have some good successes. And then to build like the real momentum, it's taking a little bit longer as well, because obviously you have to scale, let Facebook optimize. But after a while, you can literally skyrocket with Meta. And that's actually insane. That's something we have less with Google. But still, if we look at the Google store here, September 16th, first ads were online, and the curve is like really slow. And as soon as it catches momentum, it can go skyrocket as well. So yeah, with Meta, as I've mentioned before, you can start today and be on 5 or 10K days next week if you're lucky. On Google, you will have to count for at least 3 to 4 or 5 weeks for some warm-up phase before you can get crazy. Alright, so now we've seen this part, I will go a little bit deeper into what I would do if I was a beginner right now. If tomorrow all of our capital gains will be thrown away and we have to start all over again, I would start with focusing on one platform. One platform, one market, and I would deep dive until it makes money. Like for real, a lot of people are making a lot of money with dropshipping, and it might seem cool that we do this multi-platform things. But if you're just starting out, things are already very complicated, you know? So I would focus on one platform and choose one market, a market with high momentum. And how do you choose a market? Actually, you just look for a market where you can get payment processing. So to keep it easy, you might want to start with a credit card only market. I'm talking about USA, you could do this, UK, Australia, Denmark. There's a lot of countries with some high momentum, good purchase power, where you could get started with like a very low entry barrier. So I would learn everything, all the basics, and get some first results in. And as soon as you start building a team, you have less day-to-day tasks. That's when you can go start to look at multi-platform marketing. But honestly, if I would lose everything tomorrow and I would have, I would say 1K to lose or to build my business, I would start on Meta, because Meta, as hard as the platform sometimes could be, as the pain in the ass it is, it's still a platform where you can learn a lot of basics about marketing, awareness stages, but also the way the algorithm works. Like it learns you a lot if you're advertising on Meta. And in comparison with Google, I would say Google, you need some more basic knowledge already for it to succeed. So for me, that's a key difference. So I would start on Meta, get my money up, and then splash all my money into Google stores that then are way more passive, you know, because that's something I haven't really talked about here. But for us, Google is way more hands off than Meta is. Since we just drop a new store that's ready with an active GMC, we just drop it with a media buyer, and from there it's only the feed optimization we do. So we make sure we import the right products, that the funnel is looking good, we do some A/B tests, but we don't really have to do the storefront, you know, the advertising daily, the making the creatives, making the creatives, launching the ads, killing the ads, scaling the ads. So Meta is very time intensive. Meanwhile, Google, you can focus more on the back end, which is, for me, very interesting. Also, with this very slow build up with Google, you have a few weeks before you really start to do some good numbers. And that's actually pretty good for your payment processors, for example, or your backend in general, because you have way more time to optimize important things, and you will raise way less flags in a situation like this where you already advertise for over a month before doing some volume, then right here, where after 2 weeks you can already do 1K day, 5K days. So I think for your payment processing health or your company health in general, Google is better, but you can scale slowly. Okay, I'm not sure what I did, but what I was saying is you can scale slowly on Meta as well. But if the stats are looking good, you're building momentum, you don't want to miss out on this momentum, you know. So that's why on Facebook stores you can scale like to a few K to tens of thousands a day in a very short period. So yeah, payment processing health, a very important factor. But yeah, let's not talk about that because we will be here for hours then. So yeah, the consensus is here. Obviously, if I would lose everything, I would go to Meta, learn everything again, build some small capitals, then go to Google with those same stores, because that brings me to the next point. The way to consist millions in e-commerce is really leveraging the combination of these platforms. You really have no idea how important it is to retarget on different platforms, or how much potential there is, because that's exactly what we do. As soon as a customer has come, for example, on our Meta store, they liked the green dress we are selling, and they saw it through an ad from us, but they are still thinking, yeah, I don't know this shop, let's not do it. Maybe 2 weeks later, they are searching up a green dress on Google. They click on a green dress that they like, and what do they see? Oh, it's the same store, I've seen this before. This is giving them a lot of trust, you know. So we really combine platforms, like we're talking about Meta, Google, Pinterest even. This is a very, very, very good platform as well for retargeting, or at least if you already have some data from other stores or from other platforms. And then also with Klaviyo, we do email marketing where we hit them again. So this is multiple touch points, and that's exactly what a customer needs in order to be familiar with the store, with the product, with the brand. And that's actually where you can diversify yourself from competitors, because most people are only available on one platform. They have a Meta store here, and then they might have a Google store here, and they are not leveraging this multi-platform marketing. And that's exactly where the market, or where the blue ocean is at this moment, because people need to be touched multiple times. They need to be retargeted. They need some bottom of funnel content to be seen before they buy. They need different awareness stages to be hit. And okay, you could argue you can do this on one platform, but it will not give the same effect as having this on multiple platforms. So yeah, that's why for us, me and Bryan, way to consistent millions in e-commerce is combining and leveraging all of these platforms instead of one. And in terms of like bestsellers or product research, everything that works on Meta will work on Google and vice versa. It makes sense, you know. If it's winter and the Peaky Blinder jacket is being popular on Meta, for example, there will be also higher demand on Google. People will be looking for long black jackets. So yeah, that exactly proves my point. But yeah, this was actually in a very short video of 50 minutes, our opinion on Meta versus Google. If you're beginning, choose one platform, master it, know everything about it, learn all the basics of e-commerce. And for us personally, we would start over on Meta. And if you're already on some good numbers, you really want to leverage the multi-platform marketing. Very important. But as said in the beginning, this is something we discuss way deeper in the inner circle. A lot of people ask, is it like Meta focused or is it Google focused? But no, it's like very all round. We have modules, video modules on Meta. We have video modules on Google. And we really just want to show the importance of doing this. You know, you don't want to master only one platform if you want to do millions in e-commerce. As said, we did 1.5 million last month, and it's only possible because we leveraged multiple platforms on the same stores. And this will be the future. You know, people are getting more and more advertised to, and you will need to retarget them even more. Touch points will increase. I've heard a story about Japan or China. I'm not really sure where it was, but yeah, apparently the advertisements on there are like literally insane. There's no place you can go without being funneled into advertisement. In the subway, in the local shops, everywhere there's these small little details of advertising on the radio, stuff like that. So yeah, looking to the future, it will only be more and more important to hit these multiple touch points, or at least have more touch points than your competitor, if you want to keep outscaling them. You know, it makes sense. This was a short video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, comment it down below. I will for sure answer it. And subscribe to the channel, join the inner circle if you're serious about ecom, because there's only people winning in there, obviously, doing great results. So yeah, peace out. Ciao.